Okay, hello and welcome to today's lesson. So we've been doing 2x2 systems, and now we're going to upscale that a little bit and do what we call systems with 3 variables. So you'll notice problem number 1 looks a little different. It now has not x and y, but x, y, and z. So if you didn't have any trouble with a 2x2 doing elimination, then typically a 3x3 will not cause you any problem at all. There is just a couple of extra steps that we're going to throw in. So the first one is that you need to choose, well, first off, I say you need to look at all 3 equations and just kind of scope out your coefficients and decide which variable, x, y, or z, one of them, would be the easiest to solve for, okay, or to eliminate. And so it's not that big of a deal, though, because some people just always do A first, and then they do Y next, and so forth. So, but I like just kind of looking to see what might be the easiest. But that's really your call on which one you want to do. So pick 2 equations. So I'm going to go ahead for this first one, and I'm going to pick my first 2 equations. And I would say that the key to this is organization and just taking your time. This is not something you can rush. If you rush it, more than likely you're going to mess up. But your first thing is to choose 2 equations. Once you choose those 2, which I have now chosen, you're going to eliminate the same variable or the variable every time, this first time. So, and I'll just kind of show you, and that's probably easier than anything else. So first off, I'm going to eliminate my y's, okay? So my first elimination is going to be y's because I see the second y just has a coefficient of 1. So here is the steps that I do in kind of the order in which I do it as far as organization also. So I'm going to rewrite. That is kind of a key because kids don't want to rewrite equations, and they tend to mess up when they're not rewriting. So I'm going to take this first equation and I'm going to multiply it by 6. Okay, so that's going to give me 30x plus 6y plus 12z equals 60. Okay. Now I'm going to just do my elimination. So in this case, my 6's eliminate. I'm going to add down, so I have 32x plus 21z equals 52. Again, take your time and make sure you get all of your adding and subtracting everything done correctly. Okay, your next step, okay, is I am now going to come back over here and I am going to pick 2 different equations. I cannot pick the same equation, 2 different ones. And I am going to eliminate the same variable, okay? So I am going to now choose these 2, okay? Because my y's are both 1. And my process that I'm going to use is I'm going to multiply this second equation just by a -1. So my first equation, I'm not going to do anything with it. And the second one, I'm multiplying by a negative. And just, again, be very careful that you carry that all the way through. I would say an error that kids make is usually when this last term, because they forget to multiply everything. Okay, on there. So I'm going to straighten up my equation here just a little bit because that didn't look very good. Okay, so now again I'm going to add these together. Those do eliminate. I'm going to add down 2x plus 10z equals 28. Oops, sorry, here I just screwed up. Just told you be careful and I didn't. 38, how about that? Okay, now I now have the next 2 equations that I'm going to be working with. So now I'm going to work with these 2 and these 2. So really I'm now down to a 2x2, okay? So I generally come over and write them over here. You could always make sure that they don't simplify, like if there's something that will reduce out, that very rarely happens, but it might. Like this one here, it looks like I could do that. So if I wanted to, that 2x plus 10z plus 38, that actually reduces to x plus 5z equals, what is that, 19? Make sure I divided right in my head. 38 divided by 2. Yes. Okay. So you can do that. Do you have to? No, you don't have to. But I do rewrite them over here. So now these are my two equations I'm working with. Okay? And now it's just like a regular system. You can decide to eliminate either your x's or your y's. I'm going to eliminate my x's. Okay? So I'm going to, since I reduced it, I can see that my x is eliminated. And I could have left it because then I would have multiplied by 16, but I would have just had bigger numbers. I'm going to multiply, let me take this off, that might mess you guys up. So I'm going to just multiply this equation by negative 32. Okay? So 32 plus 21, 32x. Plus 21z equals 52. That one I didn't do anything with. I'm multiplying by a negative 32, and that's going to give me 5 times 32, which is 160, and it's negative. And 32 times 19 is 608, negative. Add down, those eliminate. And I have 160 minus 21, so I have 139 z, and then I have 608 minus 52, because they're opposite signs. I have 556, and the thing that's nice about these is typically they make them come out fairly good answers. Now, when you get to doing your applications, especially if you're talking money or something out like that, you know, it could go out to a couple of decimal places. So 556 divided by 139, I'm hoping I did this right and it comes out even. I get z is 4. Okay? So that's my first answer. Okay? So I've got an answer. So here's what we do, guys. We just go backwards now. Okay? So z is 4. So I go back to one of my equations over here. Okay? So one of these equations, and I'm just going to put a 4 in and find the other. So in this case, it's going to work best for me to do the bottom equation. So I'm going to do x plus 5 times 4, and I am actually going to write that down. So x, so you see what I'm doing. Here's the equation I chose, and I'm going to put in the 4 for the z. So x plus 20 is 19. So it looks like x is a negative 1. Okay? So almost done. Now I go back to the original equations, all the way back to the beginning. And I'm going to pick one of those equations. Again, it does not matter which one I pick. And I'm going to put in the z and the x and find the y. So I'm going to do, I think, just the second one. So I'm going to pick this equation. And do you see why I said organization? I get kids that go all over the place. So my first elimination, I always put here. My second elimination, I put in here, and then my simplifying, and then just kind of keep going down from that. But I can follow through. And if you're doing it, then I can follow your work also. So 5 times a negative 1 plus y plus 2 times 4 is 10. I'm just going to simplify. And that would be y plus 3 is 10. So it looks like y is going to be 7. Okay? Now, how do you write your answer? Well, it is a point. It's a point in 3 dimensions. And so we write it as a point, even though I box those answers, but your answer should be a point. So it should be, and you put them in order, X, Y, Z. So X, Y, Z. And that is my final answer. Okay? And if, again, if I've showed you how to graph in 3D, that would be a specific point where they all three hit. Okay? Now, it is possible on these that you can get an all real numbers. It is possible that you could get a no solution. I will show you pictures of what those would look like in 3D to get each one of those answers. And I might have started off by giving you a video where I showed you those as it was, but that's how you do those. It is the same step every time. So again, you want to choose 2 and eliminate a variable. Then you choose 2 more of that same one, eliminate the same variable, that is a key. And then you take those 2 equations, they called them here A and B. Okay, so this would be equation A and equation B. Okay, I'm going to put those over here. That's A and that's B. I put those together then, and you solve that system. And again, once you get your Z, you go back to either A or B. Okay. Okay, so return to A or B and find your other variable. Okay, and then you return to beginning equations to find your last one. Okay, and again, as I tell you, you're going to substitute and you're going to write your answers in the form of X, Y, Z. Okay, the key here is just take your time. Take your time. And guys, if you don't have room on this worksheet, do not try to squeeze things in. I would say just do it on your own paper. They do give you plenty of room, so if you're a small writer, it's not a problem. But if you do write really large, it's not going to work. Okay? Good luck.